Hold on to your Hasbergs, everyone, because today we're looking at the new edition of Beige Traders. Oh, hold on a second, that's embarrassing. Hello?
Hey Tom, this is bad.
Oh, did the designer of Beige Traders tweet something racist again?
No! I mean, not that I'm aware of. No, this is got a pretty serious looking letter from the government, and as far as I can tell, I think the general gist is we're gonna have to stop reviewing Euro games for a little bit.
Matt, you're telling me
It's Fun Month!
That's right, folks. It's Fun Month. A month where we review games that have nary an inch of boring or beige contained within them. Economy? Engine? These words don't exist for us in the month that is Fun Month, and you should feel ashamed of yourself for suggesting they do. So join me, viewer, as we enter the Fun Zone. To kick off Fun Month, we're going to be talking about Kitchen Rush, a cooperative board game for between 2 and 4 players where you will be collectively managing a restaurant, taking orders, cooking food, and serving it to waiting customers. Every customer you serve will make your restaurant some money, and if you make enough money, then you've won and are allowed into heaven. Easy? No. Well, yes, but I'm saying no to talk about the twist. See, Kitchen Rush is a real-time game. You use this sand timer to take your actions, slapping it down where you want to go, and only being able to take it off and use it for another action when the sand has completely run out. And then the real wrinkle is that you've got not 1, but 2 of these sand timers, meaning that the game is a frantic balancing act where you have to be at the right place at the right time, while not being at the wrong place at someone else's right time, while you're having a right time at a right place someplace else. So what Kitchen Rush really is a total panic simulator, as each of the players chucks these sand timers around everywhere, trying their best to perform the same core loop. Go here to take more customers' orders and a plate to get started cooking. Go to the cupboards to get tiny little ingredients to put on those plates, and go to the stove to cook it all in the right amount of time so that you get paid. Do it all in real time without being annoying and without messing up in under 4 minutes. And that is basically the entire game of Kitchen Rush when you get it out the box. A game that almost teaches itself. And that's all helped along by a theme that is unbelievably immediate and presentation that is, dare I say, a little bit poppin'. Look at these lovely little breadlets. Ooh, a tiny weeny little carrot for sir. What kind of micro mouse eats such tiny cheese? This game drew my family in like a vat of component stew. 3 parts bits and bobs, 2 parts presentation, and just a lovely dash of concept. And the game itself, well, let's take a peek. Having 2 timers means that you're bound to annoy someone wherever you're standing, blocking the entrance to a cupboard, using all the stoves at once to cook a 4-dish monstrosity, or merely pondering the concept of doing the dishes. But your fellow players are bound to get their accidental unwanted revenge. You've spent so long bringing in new customers that now they've yoinked all of the kidneys, despite you saying that you needed them a minute ago. But did you actually say that to anyone, or were you too busy gathering other ingredients and cooking your linguine? Maybe you did, and maybe you're the worst teammate ever, and an absolute waste of space. But, this all sounds a little bit easy. Maybe it will go as stale as a digestive biscuit left out in the sun. And to you, I say, if you want something new, if you want spice, well, I've got the thing for you right here. It's because it's the spice bag. I probably could have communicated that. Sooner. Kitchen Rush has got you covered in spice because you'll be playing the first dozen games of it as a sort of tutorial campaign, with each level asking you to flip a section of the board and introduce a nasty new twist. From now on, you've got to take drinks orders, remembering to stash away a quid for every customer you seat, or tips if you serve customers a little early, and salaries that need to be paid to offset all this newfound cash.
Now you've got a dry store to keep food in, splitting up your ingredients even further and causing plenty more chaos as supplies get scarcer and more time consuming to source. And on top of that, you've now got to go shopping midway through service to restock things that are missing when other players need them. Then, eventually, critics come to town and you start working for not just money, but prestige, pursuing only the finest orders and receiving larger penalties for messing it up, or breakages and spillages that pour bricks into your already crunching engine.
My favourite one of these editions actually happens quite early on, and it's the aforementioned spice bag, which, before I talk about the actual spices inside and how they work, I first want to talk about how this bag is actually one of the most annoying bags ever to be put in a game ever, and that kind of makes it perfect. It's somewhere between the Moneybags bags and the clasp of what can only be described as crusty velvet from Sheriff of Nottingham. In fact, I think this bag is so bad and so good at the same time that it warrants being sent off to the lab for analysis. The Kitchen Rush Spice Bag. A modern bagster piece. The perfect mix of deep and narrow means it's impossible to get what you want quickly, and the way it crumples in on itself means it's also kinda hard to see exactly what's inside at a glance. So you're always rooting around with your big hands getting in the way of your clumsy eyes, which is especially bad if you're trying to find something that's very small under pressure. And the spices themselves? Well, they're an ingredient you can add to your meal at any time. So often, players will fall into the trap of putting them on last, knowing there's no rush to get them sorted, only to find that the bag is bare. Are you a real scientist? I've got a doctorate in bag science. Yeah, no, sure, but are you real? Oh no. And all these little additions mean that Kitchen Rush becomes more rewarding to beat as layers are piled on top of each other over and over. They give ever more opportunities for collaboration and success, but also irritation and frustration like sand that's got up inside your board game. Putting it simply, these twists turn Kitchen Rush from a game that you play on your own, cooking little meals in your own little corner, to a true team game where you run a restaurant together. So that is all of that. Surely Kitchen Rush is an excellent board game that all of you should go out and spend your money on. Like many of the games that Shut Up and Sit Down covers, it's a great time and you should buy it immediately? Not really, no. Actually, I think that Kitchen Rush has quite a few problems, and to talk about those, we're going to have a bit of a mid-review turnaround. It's not actually a mid-review turnaround because I still think the game is quite good. I just wanted to do the joke where I turned around on a chair. There are a bunch of things that hold Kitchen Rush back from being a great game and slide it back into the fine and okay game territory. The first and most obvious of those being the production, which, whilst lovely in the little nice wooden bits area, falls apart in other places, most notably this sheet of punchboard that came with my copy, where it has loads of things that can't be punched out, which is really annoying, and also the string on what I previously called a modern bagster piece fell out in our second game, demoting it purely to the status of just bag. Also, this rulebook is not good at all. For a light family-focused thing, having the rules laid out like they are in here is so frustrating. That's especially true of the setup, where the game often takes longer to reset and rearrange than it does to play, especially during the campaign where there's variable setup each time. I kept thinking of better ways to lay this information out. You could have had a really nifty menu of missions or envelopes like in a legacy title, but instead you've got setup that sprawls over multiple pages and new mechanics explained in these big example-less boxes, which would be fine if there weren't specific little rules that can be missed peppered into the mix. And the fact that Kitchen Rush doesn't have that centralized endgame rule set suggests to me that maybe it's a game that doesn't have much longevity outside of its gimmicks. It's not the best family game you can get for the money. And you know, I should probably talk about a weird distinction here between a family game and the family game. Bear with me here. Chinatown is my family's family game. It's a game that I have played over and over again, and it's the game. My family aren't big into board games. They're sort of pushed into it by virtue of having me around. But nevertheless, Chinatown is a game that they categorically like. It is the family game. Meanwhile, I would compare Kitchen Rush to a game like Flick 'em Up, something whose novelty will hit the table, be enjoyed, and then promptly be shelved. And I say that as someone who loves Flick 'em Up and thinks that it's a great, well-together piece of plastic that I wish could come to the table more often. But equally, it is best with two, takes up a lot of space during its relatively arduous setup, and involves a lot of getting up and moving around the table. It's a situational game. I still love it, but it's situational. It is a family game. So Kitchen Rush is very much a family game. I'll slot it with the rest of my lovely novelties that got my whole family round a table with a great theme and nifty core that doesn't have tremendous sticking power. So, sorry, Kitchen Rush, you don't get the recommends badge.
Oh.
We're cancelling the pair expansion.
Oh no.
And I don't really want you in my house anymore.
Oh boy, I sure do love walking outside and leaving my microphone on. Oh my goodness, what is that? Kitchen Rush, where have you been? It has been so long. All that time has passed and it's given me time to think, and maybe I should reappraise your value as a board game, as it is healthy to do so with one's critical opinions on such things. Absence makes the heart grow fonder, and fondness does makes the absence longer, so they say, ha ha ha. Maybe I was too harsh on you, your lovely wooden components and friendly theming. Hasty we shall not be, but considered in our judgments. Huzzah.
Welcome to 2026, where everything is conveniently the same, except for one thing. A load of new people have been brought into the hobby by an explosion in games with more and more accessible themes. I'm practically swimming in games with great themes that are expanding the hobby beyond the three kinds of white men: Hans, Hank, and Mega Hands. And all these great games got me thinking about the review that I published but 5 short years ago on this game called Kitchen Rush. I was thinking about how I damned that game with faint praise despite it being so earnestly enjoyed by the family that I played it with. And so I will correct the mistakes of the past. This might be your thing. It might be a great thing if your family might be enticed by such a strange concept. A real-time board game with timers and a fun cooking theme. If it sounds like something that you'll enjoy, then you will probably enjoy it. And really, that review that I published 5 years ago should have been done in consultation with the family who I played it with. They wanted me to do this review. They wanted me to review this game because they liked it so much. In fact, I was rooting around in some old hard drives and I found this segment from the youngest Brewster that got cut from the original review.
Kitchen Rush is one of the many great games that my brother makes us play, and I really enjoy the chaos of us all rushing around and trying to complete our dishes. The little details such as the food pieces, sand timers and very annoying spice bag really makes the game fun for any age. The fact that the boards can switch around with different challenges is very pleasing and adds an extra element. It's got lots of levels and things which get in the way of finishing it, and is also a very great party game. I think it's a really well made game. Definitely should get the shut up and sit down seal of approval.
So there you have it, that is Kitchen Rush. You can have the alright game, but sometimes that's all you need when you have a cracking gimmick and a fun theme, and you might also get some people into games someday because they now understand that all games don't have to be boring and beige. Seal of approval. And that is the end of this video, and I don't have an outro planned, so we'll find out what I come up with in just a moment. Goodbye!